So we will begin this particular delivery by talking about a group of extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional beings that have been referred to generally by many people on your planet that have interacted with them as the blue men. Now, these beings, the ones that are interacting with Earth, are fundamentally energy beings. They have the ability to take what appears to be human form, although they will mostly appear as an outline, a silhouette that is a glowing blue form, their features being relatively obscured because their true nature is energy. And in their quote-unquote natural state, you would perceive them as blue floating orbs of light. But you can see them in many cases, when you do encounter them, changing back and forth between the orbs of light and the humanoid silhouette. They will generally appear to be relatively tall, perhaps 7, perhaps 8 feet in your counting. That's just a representation of the amount of energy coming through. Again, it's not that they actually have or possess this physical stature, but it is the way they are interpreted by your reality. It's the way they present themselves in your reality. Now, they come from a civilization that actually exists on 3 different planets in their area of space. Their original planet allowed them to create a civilization where many of the so-called scientists or researchers or explorers found a way to convert themselves and exist as energy beings. However, the majority of the civilization remained physical and went on to colonize 2 other planets as they spread out among the stars. So their civilization exists on 3 different worlds. They are exploring at this time a potential 4th world upon which to expand their civilization. But what we are saying is that their civilization exists in 2 fundamental forms. Truly, solidly physical, just as you are, and the ones that have learned to convert themselves into energy beings, which are the ones that are interacting with your planet at this time. The physical ones are not. But the ones that are interacting with your planet are doing so not only for the purpose of observation and study, as is true of many ET races who are interacting to some degree with Earth, but they also are quite compassionate, quite peaceful, and they have, shall we say, a tendency, when interacting with humans on your planet, to encourage those humans to change from a warlike civilization to a more peaceful civilization. They have even rescued people in wartime situations, removed them from the war. They have healed many people on your planet who were injured in war and from other causes. Because, again, they are energy beings, they can vibrate at a frequency that allows a person to match their frequency and allow rapid healing to occur. They will often observe warfare scenarios, and they even have the ability for people, sometimes, not always, depending upon their destiny, because the blue men will not interfere with your destinies, your choices, but they have from time to time, when it is appropriate, even removed humans from your planet and taken them to live on a planet where there is nothing but peace. Now, when they choose to do this, it is usually because a person has been gravely injured, perhaps even fatally injured, in some sort of wartime scenario. They have the ability to actually, in certain cases, resurrect these people, resuscitate these people, and allow them to be placed on one of these planets where they can experience a life of peace away from war. So the blue men, as they are called generally, which doesn't mean there are not females among them, but this is how they present themselves and how they have been labeled by your people, because that's how they seem to appear, as a male silhouette, glowing blue, obscured features, very tall, very energetic, very kind, very compassionate, very peaceful. These beings are continuing to interact with your people from time to time, though they generally remain in the background, because again, they cannot really interfere with anything you have chosen to be your own destiny. But nevertheless, they will appear to those in need from time to time to assist and aid them in either their healing or their removal to another place where they can experience lasting peace. And their energy on your planet gives you a greater opportunity to seek peace for yourselves by matching their frequency. Now, they have restricted themselves to some degree to the different kinds of individuals they may interact with. They may broaden their ability to interact with more of your population as the years progress. You will find in general that they will interact more often than not with the kind of people on your planet you call the indigenous groups, American Indians and so forth, because of their adherence to some of the old ways of relating to nature. Because again, they are very strongly connected to the idea of nature as the blue men. So in letting you know that they exist, you can open your minds, open your hearts, allow your energy to flow more freely, knowing that they are among you, whether you see them or not, and they are helping with their energy to give you more of an opportunity to choose peace and healing for yourselves, so that you may arrive at a time on your planet, or whatever version you shift to, that is more representative of peace and no longer or never has experienced the idea of war, strife, disease, struggle, and pain. So just open up to the idea of the blue men and see what happens energetically in your lives as you move forward. We will discuss another group during the meditation. So now you can become relaxed and let go of the cares of the day, so that we may guide you now in a meditation to expand the probabilities of contact by introducing you to another situation in your neighborhood. Now, allow yourselves, with whatever images you produce and whatever music you produce, to simply let go, relax. Deep breathing will accompany this idea, and just open up to sensing the vibrations of the neighborhood. And we will take you in this meditation as you feel yourself letting go and relaxing, letting in those things we will share with you, to a space above your planet, between the orbit of the Earth and the orbit of the Moon, about 100,000, 150,000 miles above the Earth. There is a very large, multi-level, saucer-shaped station that stays there and has been there for quite some time, and will continue to be there for quite some time. This very large spaceship, space station, contains many different groups of extraterrestrial beings working together or using it as a way station to help them in their observations and studies of Earth. And so we want to let you know of the existence of this craft that contains many levels and many chambers, in which many different ET races coexist, come and go, as a port, as a station, to aid and assist them in their endeavors, while they all keep watch upon Earth, observing whatever they observe with their own agendas, taking that information and sharing it. Sometimes humans have been taken to this station. So what we are suggesting that you do right now in this meditation, as you relax even further, is to allow yourself to imagine that you are being lifted off the earth in any way, shape, or form you prefer to, either with just your body on a beam of light or in a spacecraft, doesn't matter, and allow yourself to rise above the earth until the earth appears to be about the size of a soccer ball. And then see before you this giant circular silver saucer with its multi-levels gleaming in the sunlight, hanging, floating in space, and allow yourself to see that you are entering one of the chambers, arrival chambers, and disembarking into this station. And imagine yourselves walking through the different sections, through the different levels, going up, going down, on different tubular access vehicles that you would call elevator tubes, but with no particular enclosure, just rising or going down through these transparent tubes to the different levels, or walking around on the different decks in the different chambers, some of which may include spaces in which to eat, spaces in which to sleep for those that require those things, some of which are scientific laboratories, educational facilities, control centers, which allow you a view of Earth, monitors that may contain views of other planets to which many of these beings belong. And it doesn't matter at this point whether you are accurate in your depiction of the many beings that are walking around on the deck near you, passing by you, going about their business. Imagine whatever forms of aliens you wish, both humanoid and not, it doesn't matter right now. This will become more specific at a later time. But right now, we are simply encouraging you in this meditation to focus on the idea of how it feels to be on such a craft, on such a station that exists above your Earth, with all of these different beings going about their business, some of them acknowledging you, some of them simply passing by, allowing you to feel, to know that this is going on in your neighborhood, that this way station exists in your neighborhood for a variety of purposes, and that it will still continue to exist in this place as you yourselves begin to develop more ability, more awareness, and more efficacy at creating your own spacecraft that use universal powers and universal laws, so that one day in your own craft you may dock with this station and come aboard as a species and partake of the various races and interact with the various beings that also utilize this United Nations or United Planets craft, if you wish to look at it that way, where different beings are welcome to go about their business and interact, so that you simply know that these beings are in your neighborhood. Allow yourself the opportunity now to just explore, pick up on whatever you're going to pick up on, see whatever it is your imagination allows you to see, learn whatever it is your imagination allows you to learn about what is going on in the various endeavors that these beings may be undertaking. Just explore. Just feel the energy of exploration, of observation, of study, of learning, of knowledge, of wisdom, and expand that to the cosmos. For in this craft is a vast library of information and knowledge of the cosmos. Not only your neighborhood, but well beyond into other neighborhoods, and even into other star systems and other galaxies. Allow yourself to know that this exists. The greatest library in your neighborhood is 100,000 miles above your planet. And you can access this anytime you wish in your imagination. Let synchronicity and higher mind be your guides on this journey. And anytime you think of this and extend your consciousness to this station, to this meeting point, to this melting pot, to this beautiful silver shining craft with its multiple layers and multiple chambers, with all of these beings going about their business of learning and expanding themselves and their knowledge of existence by observing all of you as well. Allow yourself to participate and become part of this unity. Allow yourself to feel that you can belong to this alliance. Allow yourself to simply feel the expansion of knowledge and awareness that is going on, that is contained in this craft. Immerse yourself in it. Revel in it. Wallow in it. And absorb it in whatever way, shape, or form is comfortable for you. And feel not only the individualness, the diversity, the incredible diversity of all of the beautiful differences of all the individuals and representatives of their own races and planets and stars and galaxies, but also the unity and the harmony within this craft, and the beauty of the orchestration of synchronicity that exists within its walls, floating beautifully in space. Allow yourself now to simply return to Earth, knowing that this is there for you anytime you wish to visit it in your imagination or out of body, in your astral form. It is there for you to participate in, to feel that you belong to, and to enjoy, because it is part of your neighborhood and will be here for you for many, many years to come. Allow yourself now to simply relax back into your environment of Earth, and now be able to see more clearly both perspectives of not only living on the surface of your world, but also seeing your world from that vantage point of that station, through the eyes of all of those races as they gaze upon you, as they observe you, as they learn from you, and expand their knowledge of the cosmos through you. See yourself in both places simultaneously, because you are. For many of you may have counterparts on that station, observing their counterparts on the surface of the Earth. Feel the lines of connection and energy that anchor them to the Earth and you to them. And allow yourself to walk upon the Earth in your path with renewed understanding and feelings of connection that you belong to a vast neighborhood of many different kinds of diverse individuals who are all sharing similar purposes of expanding their awareness and their knowledge, and that you can participate in this expansion as well. Breathe it in and crystallize this relationship with you and them, and allow yourself to participate and feel the participation more and more every day from two different vantage points as you become more aware of more of yourself. Allow yourself to breathe gently and easily now. And in both locations, we extend to you our unconditional love and our welcome to your home. Welcome home. Welcome to the neighborhood. Welcome to the awareness of what is going on more and more around you that may have been heretofore invisible, but is becoming more visible every day. And we will help, along with others, guide you into more recognition and more awareness of the different beings and the different races that are interacting in your neighborhood with you, so that you can feel more connected to the galactic family to which you actually belong, and more aware and capable of expanding yourself to see from those more lofty perspectives, as well as from the Earth and as well as feeling and experiencing yourself as an extension of nature, not only of the earth, but of many different worlds and of the cosmos itself. Welcome home, welcome home, welcome home. Our unconditional love and support to you all, and we bid you an exciting day of exploration, self-discovery, and play, and remind you all once again that the first step toward true enlightenment is to always lighten up on yourselves. Don't judge yourselves negatively. You don't deserve it. Don't take things too seriously. Relax and go with the flow, because your flow knows exactly where you need to go. Good day.
I had a flash of doubt this week about my abilities as a writer.
Oh, all right. Flash of doubt.
Yes.
And of course, remember, what is doubt?
Is trusting and in
Yes, trusting in, a 100% trust in
what I don't want.
what a definition that doesn't work for you.
Right. A definition that doesn't work.
All
for me.
right.
And I realized that even though some of my material had been rejected or passed on by this company, that had
Yes.
no effect on who I was, and that I'm very proud of my work.
All right.
And it just meant to me that some other company was the one that it was meant to go with.
Perhaps.
Or different other ones.
Perhaps.
And I was curious. I know that that predictions are only of the moment, and
Yes.
that they are likely to change.
Yes.
And I had a psychic reading back in February, and I was
Yes.
wondering if you were able to give me an accuracy of the percent of that reading as it stands at this moment.
Is it still February?
No, I mean,
Then
obviously.
0.
Okay. Okay.
Every moment you create your reality anew. It is that understanding you really need to have in order to understand why the answer is 0.
Then, understanding that readings or predictions change moment to moment.
Yes.
Is there any way you can give me a reading of where I am at this moment?
You are 100% whatever you are deciding to be.
Mm-hmm.
What are you deciding to be? That's the question. Mm-hmm. What other reading can I give you other than your assessment of yourself in clear, honest self-communication? You tell me who you are right now. You don't have to literally do it. It is rhetorical to some degree, but that is the point. I cannot give you a reading of where you are, since you are infinity. Where can I say you are on a line that is infinite, except always where you are? Do you understand?
Uh-huh.
This may seem cryptic, may seem poetic, may seem philosophical, but it is also quite literal. You are, in some senses, giving away the power by asking me to make the assessment for you in the same way that you gave yourself an opportunity to experience how you had given away your power in terms of reacting to what other people think of who and what you do and who and what you are. Make sense?
Yeah.
So, remember, it isn't even about the idea that it's meant to be in another company. It is about the idea of doing what you do because that's what you love to do. And allowing your reality to reflect it to you in whatever way, shape, or form is representative of the path of least resistance of simply allowing you to be who you are without the idea that it must do this or it must do that. You do what you do because that's what you love to do.
Well, I do it and I love it, but at the same time, I would like to be supported by it.
Yes. You will be supported by it when you do it only because you love it. If you do it because you love it, but because you also need to be supported by it, it cannot support you because you need it to. If you do it because you love it, because it's who you are, and follow your excitement at any given moment, then whatever it is your excitement leads you to will in some way, shape, or form support you. But you must let go of your idea of what support is supposed to mean. You must relax your conditions on what support is supposed to look like. Otherwise, you cannot receive support as it may actually come. You may not see support for what it is, because you think it has to look a certain way and wear a certain suit. And thus you cannot necessarily recognize real support when it happens. Sometimes, for example, in a sense that someone may not want to participate in something you have done can be a form of support. Because they are supporting you moving in the direction that is actually representative of who you actually are. Supporting what you have deemed yourself to be. What you have defined yourself to be. So in that sense, it is support. But if it is a certain type of support you're looking for, a certain expectation of support, then you will not allow yourself to recognize support is already with you all the time. Because the only support any of you actually need is the support to be yourself. Period. No matter how that may come. So, of course, yes, be persistent, persevere, but not in the sense of struggle. The idea, again, at any given moment is to simply make the assessment, am I doing what I really, really, really love to do? Not because of what you think it will get you. Not because of what you think it must do to support you. Simply, do I have any other choice? Is there anything else I would rather be doing? If the answer is no, then just keep doing whatever it is you find most exciting for its own sake. And let your reality guide you without expectation. Do not disappoint yourself from the driver's seat. Reappoint yourself and stay there, no matter what anyone else decides. Do you understand?
Yes.
Is this helping you?
It is, thanks.
Yes.
Hi, Bashar.
Hi.
Okay, I wanted to ask you, is that little face on the wall in my bedroom an alien?
Define it and describe it.
It has, well, the face looks just like, I don't know the name of, I don't know if it's the grays or the hybrids, with the big eyes and the little nose.
In what way does this face appear to you? In what manner do you perceive this? What is the nature of the manifestation? Is what we are asking.
Well, like, it seems like something's watching me or just observing me.
Yes. When you say the face on my wall, you are talking about
in the bedroom.
A phenomenology that is not always there, or something that is always there?
Well, it's
part
always
of the
been,
wall or an energy perception?
It's a part of the wall.
Physiologically.
Yes.
Then in that sense, you can understand that as part of the wall, it cannot be what you would call an actual alien.
Okay.
Nevertheless, it may be that it is triggering in you memories of actual encounters and experiences.
Wow.
Do you understand?
Yes. Because I just noticed it was there just the other day, so I mean, I don't know.
That is simply an indication that your mind is now capable of, shall we say in your language, wrapping itself around more conscious awareness and remembrance of experiences that you are having, and therefore it is allowing itself to see in the patterns in your wall something that will remind you that you've had these encounters.
Wow.
You understand?
Yes. Okay. My second question has
Yes.
to do with the very first channeling experience that I sat in on. The next day, I got a really, really dizzy spell.
Yes. This is common. As
Wow.
individuals will allow themselves to open up new energy centers, allow more energy through themselves, sometimes it will literally have the experience of being disorienting. Because you are not used to handling that level of energy, it does literally disorient you momentarily until you get used to it and reconnect to your new orientation. This is a very common symptomology of new energy flow, of awakening to new levels of awareness and consciousness. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Well, it lasted 2 weeks, so that's
Yes.
why I was really
It is still a
concerned.
common symptom.
Yeah.
Sometimes in your world it takes time to get used to new levels of energy.
And then at times I felt like I was vibrating on like a pulsation
Yes,
type.
this is what we are saying. You are upgrading your energy frequency.
Wow.
You are allowing yourself to be operating on a higher level, a higher pitch, so
Well-
to speak. And that can be disorienting to the way that you are used to perceiving your reality and yourself until you get used to it.
I see. I'm just trying to catch up with myself.
You're not trying, you are.
Okay.
But yes, in your reality, again, because you think as a society in terms of polarity and dichotomy, then you create a difference, yes, between the idea of the old self and the new self. And that difference you create is what creates the disorientation for however long that lasts. You follow? So yes,
Yes, I
euphemistically, yes, you are trying to catch up to yourself, but only because your society teaches you that you have two different selves and that one needs to catch up.
Okay.
This is just a projected idea, but because you think of it as a real reality, you experience the consequences of thinking of yourself in that way, as an old and a new self that needs to be caught up to.
Okay.
The more you think of yourself holistically, the more you are willing to change instantaneously, and trusting that all those things are a part of you, the less difference you will create within the idea of yourself, and the less often you will experience that kind of disorientation. You will simply then experience it as revelation, inspiration, instantaneous recognition that you've made a shift. But there will be no disorientation, there will only be elation. You follow?
Yes.
And?
That's great. And what?
Anything else?
Yes.
And?
Okay. Third question is, that last relationship that I had with my ex-boyfriend, was that remote viewing he was doing? Because he seemed to know everything that was going on in my life, whether he was physically present or not.
This is not so much exactly the idea of remote viewing, although there is an aspect of that there.
Okay.
Anytime any individuals are connected in vibration, anytime they are, as you would say in your language, on a similar wavelength, you understand? Mm-hmm. Then you will create the same understanding at the same time. You will have the same kind of thoughts at the same time. And that can act as a methodology for allowing one individual to know what another individual is experiencing at that moment, because you are operating on the same wavelength. It's simply called resonance identification. And in a sense, that is to some degree the secret to remote viewing, in that you have to resonantly identify to some degree with whatever it is you need to see in order to be able to see it. Because what you're doing is creating your version of that image and that experience within your own energy by identifying with it strongly enough to match the frequency of that person, place, thing, location, or what have you.
I didn't feel like I was doing it with him, though.
So, that doesn't mean he can't do it with you. He can identify with you, even though you may not necessarily reciprocate. You understand?
Yeah.
It all has to do with intention and focus and an array of other ideas emotionally. Nevertheless, in a sense, it is like unto the idea of, or can be said to be, a form of remote viewing, but it is not so much viewing as it really is simply junctioning, resonance identification, telepathic bonding, in a sense. You follow?
Yes.
Simply matching someone's frequency in the same way that you match the frequency of a program on your TV set, and therefore that's the program you see because that is the channel you have tuned to.
Okay. I get
Does that make sense to you? Then?
Yes, it does.
Does that help you?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I was going to a gathering, and I grabbed a large clear crystal in my hand and held it above my head.
Yes.
And made a very powerful statement, and the day just went swimmingly. And I'm just wondering, I know you're going to say I am using the crystal properly because that's what I decided to do, but
Then
do you have
thank
any
you for
hints?
telling us.
Do you have any hints for me as to how I might enhance what I'm doing?
Yes. Don't ask.
Okay.
Just tell.
Okay.
What you
Well,
know to be true.
I want to tell you something else.
Yes.
About a year or so ago, I was playing around, having a good time with some sticks and making what I call dream walker kind of sticks.
Sticks.
And I
Yes.
put a great purple crystal in the top of one just
Yes.
because I thought it was really pretty, and I had
Yes.
fun doing this.
Yes.
Well, then recently I've read that I don't know, Atlantis or Lemurian
Yes,
or
yes,
some,
Atlantis. It
how
is a
they held it
recollection
out.
of things that you were doing in Atlantean times, so to speak, yes.
Can I do it again with this object, or do I need a different kind of crystal?
You can utilize it to a similar degree and in a similar fashion. It will never be the same because the energy of your world is not the same. But you can, to some degree, utilize it as a trigger or reflective mechanism to put you in touch with vibrations that will, for, shall we say, lack of a better term, have the same general effect in your reality based on who you chose to be now. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, I believe it's very valuable, and I'll enjoy using that.
Oh, all
Thank
right.
you. In an area in, I believe it's Arizona, some time ago, I was driving around, and I decided that this red cinder cone mountain was most intriguing to me because most lava is dark, and this is red. I think it's in the Flagstaff area, as I remember. And I was going up this mountain road, and all of a sudden I just had this terrible fear, kind of like in that other mountain pass, and I decided I had to get out of here really fast.
Oh, all right.
And I'm wondering, my question is, when I experience that sensation, does that indicate to me that there was at some time in my life an experience that has not a pleasant memory, and that's why I'm getting that?
Oh, one.
Oh, well, I know, but I'm saying when I have that feeling, am I accurate in what I think I'm
It is not
perceiving?
always indicative of an unpleasant experience, no. It can be, in your terms, a recollection of something that you find or label unpleasant. At the same time, it can simply be that you allow yourself to recognize that the particular frequency of energy that symbolizes may be something that is simply, in some way, shape, or form, out of kilter or out of alignment with your own frequency, or actually the reverse. Sometimes something will give off a certain frequency, and because you are out of alignment with it or with yourself, it will amplify the misalignment within you and allow you to have exactly the same kind of feeling, regardless of whether any memory of any so-called incident is attached to it or not.
So that could be powerful in telling me that I'm not in alignment with
It can be for a number
myself.
of different reasons, and it's up to your discernment to use it as a tool to meditate on it and see what you get with regard to these ideas or any other idea that might crop up in your imagination as to what that feeling might be from. Always assume that there might be more than one way that that feeling can be generated. And you will then, in those circumstances, allow your imagination to guide you in looking at all the possible ways that such a thing might have come about. And that will give you more insight into all the different aspects and facets of your consciousness. You follow?
That's really valuable. I thank you.
Because I will again remind each and every one of you that in all likelihood you will find, relative to the time period you are occupying now in your history, almost anything will in some way, shape, or form at some time have happened to you. You follow?
I do.
So you can really use these things very multidimensionally in a number of different ways to see many different sides of yourself instead of simply assuming that it only has one causative angle.
Okay.
Follow?
Yes. Then that sort of knocks out my next question.
Why, thank you.
Okay. Well,
Then thank you.
thank you for a wonderful time.
You! You. Good day.
Good day, Bashar.
You are number 2. Male, you know who you are. Male. Yes. There.
Hello,
Good day.
Bashar. My question is in regards to remote viewing.
Yes.
Could you describe in detail how remote viewing works?
Did I not just do that a moment ago?
Not to my satisfaction.
Oh,
no.
all right.
Also, can you tell me if remote viewing will eventually or shortly evolve to be used effectively without the use of the written protocols?
Second question first. Yes.
Shortly, I feel within the next 2 decades when...
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
And also, of course, do understand that there are individuals on your planet now, and have been individuals in your past, that instinctively understand remote viewing and do not need any kind of protocol. They simply go right into it.
Okay, it would also still be termed remote viewing as opposed to the protocols designed by the U.S. military.
Ultimately, the idea will, again, more simply be understood as viewing, as, again, identification, as junctioning. There will be many different ideas that all say the same thing. And again, to go into a little bit more detailed explanation, there is a paradox to this. The paradox is that the reason remote viewing works is because there's no such thing as anything that's actually remote. Everything is one. Everything is here. Everything is now. The idea, holographically, is that if you can, as we had said a moment ago, junction or identify with a particular frequency that is representative of a place, time, person, or what have you, since everything is based on frequency of energy, even location, you can then understand that that location, in essence, not to confuse your language, is actually not over there, but here, just like everything is. And so by identifying with it, you allow yourself to some degree to participate in it here, because it is here. You allow yourself to experience that location within yourself. It is not actually remote viewing. It is viewing from another angle here and now by identifying with it so strongly, by picking up on the correct frequency so accurately that you call forth from the collective now that particular angle, that particular perspective, that particular experience, and can then reproject it as if it were actually over there, but you know it really is not. That's a little bit more of an explanation. Does that make sense to you so far?
Yes, it does.
Does that help illuminate the idea a little bit more clearly for you then?
More so today than yesterday.
Oh, all right. Is
Also,
there any other aspect of this you wish further clarification of?
just could you tell us a few remote viewers from our past? Name a few names that were actually remote viewing as we know it today. Unlike
Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Wovoka, many, many others that you would call ascended masters, even many indigenous people, naturally, can, in your terms, remote view, what you call shamans. Sometimes it is very natural for many children to simply do this instinctively because they have not yet been taught how not to, because they instinctively know everything is here and now and one. Everything in that sense is real to them, therefore it's very natural for them. You will find, if you will take the time, I'm not saying you have to do this, but if you will generically take the time, any of you, to do your research, you will find constantly that your adults are, shall we say, knocking down the idea of what children say they see, of what they experience, that are, in your terms, at a distance. Also, any individual under certain circumstances and conditions, such as that which requires great overwhelming need or desire, will instantaneously, spontaneously remote view, such as cases where you know that a mother instantaneously knows that her child is in danger many miles away. You follow?
yes.
These kinds of things are simply trigger mechanisms. These states of being are simply trigger mechanisms that allow you, in a sense, to get out of your way in terms of creating the reflective structure of physical reality illusion and allow yourself to collapse that whole thing into the true here and now and simply see and experience only that aspect in totality that is germane to the frequency you happen to be on at that moment. This is the very fundamental underpinnings of all such things as telepathy, remote viewing, psychic functioning, what have you. It's all basically stemming from the same thing, and that is resonance identification. Because space and time are just concepts that are only different by the frequency they exhibit. Location is not really over there. Location is a frequency idea. An object doesn't actually exist in a particular location literally. Location is one of the properties of the object. One of the properties of the equation, the vibrational equation that you translate in physical reality terms as an object over there. But that's just an equational projection in the same way that you have a reflection in a glass mirror. You know, in a sense, the reflection is not really over there, because the reason you see it is because all the light's coming back to you here. It's not really over there. There's nothing in the mirror. The mirror holds on to none of the light, and that's why you see the reflection, which is actually here. Make sense?
Yes, so. Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Does that help you?
Yes.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
So my question is about how to balance my logical mind with my emotional mind.
Yeah.
Because I seem to
IQ with EQ.
I seem to get out of balance either.
You seem to?
Yeah.
Or do you choose to? Which way feels more self-empowered?
Choosing.
Because if you're choosing to be out of balance, at least you know you're in control of that and can change it. When you say, well, I seem to be, you're giving up your power to some random concept that doesn't allow you to know that there is any probability of really changing that. So the first step in changing it is to admit and take responsibility for having chosen it, because then you're in power to change it. Now, you may not know why you chose it, that's fine. But it will be in your unconscious mind somewhere a definition that made it seem logical to choose that. That's what we have described before as the motivational mechanism within all of you. This is a given law. You will always, always, always move in the direction of what you believe to be in your best interest. You will always immediately and automatically move away from what you believe is not in your best interest. So if you can see yourself choosing things that you know are not in your best interest, and you understand the motivational mechanism we've just described, that can only mean that you must be making what is in your best interest seem to not be, or what is not in your best interest seem to be. That's the only reason you would choose something that's not in your best interest, is you have a definitional belief attached to it that makes it seem to be better than the alternative. You understand? Because if people, for example, are afraid to move ahead on their excitement because they have a belief that something bad will happen to them, and they believe that not moving is a safer bet, they will stay where they are. They will keep choosing the safer bet because they have attached to their excitement a negative definition of the outcome. So you'll avoid it at all costs. When you realize that that may be the kind of definition you've attached to it, you will realize that doesn't make sense. It's illogical. And as soon as you realize there's no reason to attach a negative definition to your excitement, then that definition is gone. And you can start choosing things that you know are in your best interests. Because you will have cleared out the definitions that would make it seem otherwise. Is this making some sense?
It is making some sense.
Can you apply it to any specific definitions within you that would allow you to choose things you know are not necessarily in your best interest?
I guess I would have to become more conscious of all my choices.
I guess so. Well, let me ask you this question, because again, this is usually the one for your people that will typically, not always, but typically reveal what the definition is, the fear-based definition is. And the question is, if you were to actually move forward on your passion in life, what are you afraid might happen? What are all the reasons you create for yourself to not move in the direction of your preference, of your excitement, of your passion?
Running out of money.
Running out of money. Oh, all right. Are you saying that that's not an exciting thing? It could be. It could be the best thing that ever happened to you. How do you know?
That's a good point.
Thank you.
It could be.
You see, this goes back to what we say about your definitions, because we understand how things work on your world in general. But the idea is that many of you become way too focused on one particular way in which things work when there are other ways. And you're not allowing your definition to be broad enough to include the other ways. When you focus only on one symbol of abundance, such as money, not invalidating it, not discounting it at all, but it's only one symbol. There are other symbols of abundance, other symbols of support. But when you only focus on one as if that's the most important one, you are closing the doors through which other forms of support and abundance could come. Because you're saying you won't recognize them. If it's not this, I can't be supported.
I don't understand how I could possibly be supported if it doesn't come in this form. That's a very limiting and restrictive belief system. But when you understand that abundance is simply one of the natural tools of excitement, and it will bring you whatever form of abundance and support you need to continue to act on your excitement, then you can relax your definition and open all the windows and doors and let abundance come in all its forms. Sometimes somebody may just give you something. That's a form of abundance, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Sometimes synchronicity will bring you information that you need at exactly the right time. That's a form of abundance, you know.
Yes.
So why not let more forms of abundance come into your life rather than worrying that you might lose one particular form?
That sounds like a good idea.
Why, thank you. The idea is that if money needs to be there, then the right amount of money will come, but it may not be sufficient to allow for the big picture, but the rest of the other forms of abundance will fill the other spaces. So that sometimes it may be, well, you just need this much money, and you need this much gift, and you need this much synchronicity, and all together, you've got your support. Mm-hmm. If it needs to be all money, that's what will come, because that will be the path of least resistance. But your first clue that it might not be the path of least resistance is, it's not coming. That's your moment to look around and go, could there be other forms of abundance that I could allow in? That's where your imagination opens up. Because when you're on the level of the vibration of your passion, you will actually be capable of thinking, of imagining other things that might bring other forms of abundance in. But if you're only focused on one form, you are actually not only closing the door to other forms of abundance, you're closing the doors in your imagination to being even capable of imagining how other forms of abundance could come to you. So you will not even conceive of opportunities you could be acting on that could give you everything you need, because you will not allow them to be visible, because you're not in the correct frequency. Mm-hmm. You cannot perceive what you're not the vibration of first. This is just physics. Mm-hmm. You have to be that frequency first. And when you are, all sorts of things that are commensurate with that frequency will come to you. You'll think of things. Other people might call the things you imagine crazy, but that doesn't mean they won't work for you. They don't have to work for them. They just need to work for you. Mm-hmm. Is this making some sense?
Definitely.
Is this helping?
A lot.
All right. Anything else?
So do you think it would be wise to just follow my highest excitement and not be concerned with societal expectations?
Let me think about that for a moment. Please understand this. The philosophies you think are what you're hearing are not philosophies. We're actually giving you, literally, an instruction manual for how reality works. We're literally giving you formulas. You follow?
Yes.
It is no different when we say, act on your highest passion every moment that you can, to the best of your ability, taking it as far as you can until you can take it no further, with zero insistence or assumption as to what the outcome ought to be. That is literally an energy formula. It is physics. It's an instruction manual. It will activate everything you need. It will leave nothing out. It will give you all the tools in the kit of excitement, because it's a complete kit, and nothing relevant will be left out. And all you have to do is remain in a positive state no matter what happens, and you will get the beneficial effect. This is an instruction manual, absolutely no different at all than if someone gave you an instruction manual to operate a piece of machinery, to learn how to drive one of your automobiles. You would say, the instructions say, find the key. Oh, this must be the key. There's a picture of it. Yes, looks just like it. Put it in the slot called the ignition. Oh, all right. Put it in. Turn it this way. Turn it this way. The engine will start. Yes, I hear it started. Now, step on the brake. Step on the brake. That's that one according to the instruction manual. Put the car in gear. Okay, that must mean this thing here. And now step on the gas. The car should move. Oh, yes, it's doing that. Why is it doing all of that?
Because I followed the instruction manual. Simple as that. What we are giving you is literally a description of how reality works. It's literally an instruction manual. So if you actually do it as precisely as you can, like you would for any instruction manual, you will see that reality is already working. The instruction manual we're giving you doesn't mean it's not working. The instruction manual we're giving you is giving you an opportunity to experience that it already works in a positive way for you instead of a negative way. Because synchronicity is always working, but you can experience negative synchronicity or positive synchronicity. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, if you really understand that this is an instruction manual and you just follow the instructions just as you would with any machine, you will see it's that simple. It works. Mm-hmm. Does that help?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
It does. Can I ask one more question?
That was a question. You want to ask another one?
One more.
Yes.
What if you follow the instruction manual and follow your highest excitement and you end up in a less than preferable state?
Thank you for bringing that up. You see, this, as you have just said it, is the absolute crux of the issue that all of you have difficulty with. When you say, if I follow my excitement, what if something less than exciting happens? What you have to realize is what you've just said is not a definition of excitement. It's a different definition. You follow me? To say, I am acting on my excitement, but something can happen that's not representative of my excitement is not a definition of your excitement. By definition, when you are in your excitement, nothing can happen that you don't find exciting, even if it's what you don't prefer. You find it exciting because you know that to stay in that state means you will extract the benefit from it. So to say something bad can happen when I'm acting in my excitement, when I'm in my state of excitement, is an oxymoron. It's a contradictory definition. It's not a definition of excitement. It's a definition of a completely different reality experience. The reality experience of, I think I'm acting on my excitement, but I find out I'm not. That's the definition you just gave me. It's not a definition of excitement. So that's why it's so important to be clear about your definitions. Your definitions have to be purely representative of the state that we're talking about, or they're not that state. Your definitions will be only commensurate with whatever state is reflective of the definition you're creating. And that's a different state and a different reality experience altogether. Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
Is that making some sense?
Yes. I guess what happened is I followed my excitement and then I
didn't get what you preferred.
Didn't get what I preferred.
But why should you? That's what I'm saying. You see, when we talk again about acting on your passion, it has to be done for its own sake, not because of what you think is supposed to happen. Because, as I said, sometimes you will get things that objectively, neutrally, you may recognize are not things you prefer. But you have to know it's there for a positive reason if you're actually in a positive state. If you don't know it's there for a positive reason, you're not in a positive state.
I understand.
You have to know that no matter how it looks, no matter how it was created, no matter what anyone else's opinion is about it, you, by staying in a positive state, can only extract a positive and beneficial effect from that circumstance, from that manifestation. The bottom line is, it doesn't matter what happens. It only matters what you do with what happens. Mm-hmm. That's what matters. Matter. That's what matters. The circumstance doesn't create the material. The state of being does. Mm-hmm. Is this making sense?
Yes.
You will.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sharing. At this time, we would like to begin, first of all, by recounting and illuminating the idea of how the polyhedron structures that you are exploring can be utilized in a variety of ways to enhance and increase and expand your understanding and your ability to connect to other dimensional realms of information within and without you. First of all, let us do what you would call in your language a recap of what you are familiar with as the regular polyhedral structures. First of all, you will find that there are actually, in total, of those we will discuss this day of your time, 9. There will be 6 that will be physiological. There will be 3 that will be higher dimensional. Now, more often than not, you will hear on your planet of the 5 regular solids, specifically meaning what you refer to as the 5 platonic solids, again, specifically meaning that they are associated, their recognition, in a sense, their quote-unquote discovery, is associated with the entity that you call on your planet Plato. But there are actually 6 regular solids, one of which was not known to Plato, but has since been recognized by your civilization. Let us begin with the 6 physiological regular polyhedron. Number 1, if you already have it, mark it down, check it, make sure it is on your list. The tetrahedron, being in a sense a 4-sided structure, or not counting the base, a 3-sided pyramid, but including the base, 4 sides, each side being an equilateral triangle. This you have, yes? All right. Next, what you call the cube. 6 sides, each of which is a square. This you have, yes? Yes. All right. The next being the equilateral octahedron. 8 sides, in a sense, that you would recognize as, again, equilateral triangles. The equilateral octahedron. This you have, yes? Yes. This would be like unto what you would call 2 4-sided pyramids stuck together at the square base. You follow? Yes. All right. Next, you usually count the concept of what you would call the dodecahedron. Yes? Yes. But do you have 2 dodecahedrons? Or 1? There is 2. There is the pentagonal dodecahedron, made of 12 pentagons. There is the rhomboid dodecahedron, made of 12 rhombus shapes, which are diamond shapes. So there are 2 12-faced polyhedron, 2 types of dodecahedron. You follow? Yes. All right. You can experiment, and we will get to this in a moment, with constructing the rhomboid dodecahedron. We will explain how to construct such a figure in a bit. All right? Yes. All right. Moving on to the final 6th regular polyhedral structure, you have the 20-sided figure, 20 triangles, equilateral triangles, that you call the icosahedron. You follow? Yes, yes? Yes. All right, thank you, thank you. Want to make sure there is someone on the other end of this transmission? Is this true?
That we don't know what you're talking about?
Yes.
Some more than others.
All
Yes,
right.
true.
Have you not, up to this point, explored the idea of the regular polyhedral solids? Yes?
We've been concentrating on the tesseract tonight.
All right. That is number 8.
Okay.
But first, number 7. And now we enter the dimension of higher realms. What you have now is what we call the tetragrammaton, which is like a tetrahedron in that it appears to be a 4-sided figure made of 4 regular triangles, in that sense, equilateral, But unlike the typical regular tetrahedron, you can now understand that each of the triangular faces, each of the four, is actually the base of another whole tetrahedron pointing inwards inside the structure, as if each face were a completely separate tetrahedron contained within the overall outside tetrahedron. This is because each face is actually the side of an interdimensional tetrahedron, and they all overlap. All of them overlap. So what you have here is, again, a 20-sided figure, in that you have the overall tetrahedron, the outside one with 4, and then you have 4 of 4. 16 and 4 is 20. You have another 20-sided figure, but it is 20-sided in another dimension, not in your dimension. It only is, in a sense, 4-sided in your dimension. The next, the seventh, is the tesseract. That is the cube or the hypercube, as you may call it. Again, the same principle applies. And this is that each square face is the side of a completely different cube. So you have, in a sense, 7 cubes, a whole cube outside, and each face represents another completely different cube, making another 6, and therefore you have 42 faces in this particular polyhedral structure. But again, most of them are in another dimension. Again, it would be like you have a cube, and you can imagine that you can step into any face and be inside the cube as if it were simply a hollow structure. But that is what would happen in your normal 3-dimensional cube. You would simply step through one of the faces and be inside the same cube. In the hypercube, in the tesseract, any face you step through would actually put you into a cube separate from any other cube you step through any other face to enter. Each face is the side of a completely different cube. They are all intersecting, but they do not interact. They do not meet. If you step through one face, you are in cube number 1. If you step through another face, you're in cube number 2. And the things that are contained inside cube number 1, if anything at all, will not appear inside cube number 2 when you step through face number 2. This is the whole concept of higher dimensional polyhedral physics. The final, in that sense, is really simply what you recognize as a sphere. For in that sense, it is unidirectional. You have this, in a sense, even in your own reality, and it can said to be the idea of the 0 point, even before the tetrahedron in physical terms, for when you step in a sphere, it is the same in all directions. This is the same in the higher dimensions as well. Again, however, when you step into the hypersphere, you now have an infinite array of possible realities that you could experience, because each point on the surface of the sphere is really a completely different sphere. So while in the physical reality, the sphere being the 0, not the 1, will simply be that you step into a ball and it is the same ball. In the higher dimensions, the sphere will be an infinite array of realities, an infinite array of spheres contained within the same sphere. So you have the 0 and infinity at either end of the spectrum of the interim 8, or an octave of polyhedra. Are you following along so far? All right. Close enough. Now, so the progression in terms of the sides, in terms of the faces, that is, will be, starting with the physical sphere, 0, and then you will have the tetrahedron for 4, then you will have the cube for 6, then you will have the equilateral octahedron for 8, then you will have 2 dodecahedrons, 2 12-faced figures, then you will have the icosahedron for 20, then you will have the tetragrammaton for 20, again forming the bridge connector from physical to non-physical reality with the same number of faces inward that the icosahedron has outward. Then you will have the idea of the tesseract or the hypercube for 42, and then you will have the hypersphere for infinity. So this is the count. Then, as you have it, 0 to the idea then of 4, and then 6, and then 8, and then 12, 12, and then 20, 20, and then 42, and then infinity. Now, the idea herein is to understand that these forms are some of the most basic structures in what you call nature, physical reality. They are some of the underlying templates, or if you wish, building blocks for how things arrange themselves in physical reality. And what this means is arrange themselves not only atomically, even subatomically, but also on a larger scale, a macrocosmic scale. Even relationships of energy follow these patterns in general. This is not to say there are not other patterns, but when we are talking about the regular ones, that is, ones that have faces that are equal to every other face, these form the basic skeleton of the underlying template of how things are arranged, or the relationships that exist throughout many different dimensions that are all connected to your particular universal reality, physical and etheric, and in that sense, the hyperdimensional connections as well. But we will concentrate and focus on what will be most applicable to your reality, since, of course, that happens to be where you're focused at the moment. So, let us begin by understanding that one of the ways, and it is only one, of the ways to use these forms is, whether you do this in your own imaginations, in your mind's eye, so to speak, or whether you create some kind of media format in which to view this occurring, will not really matter as long as simultaneously to any assistive tool you may be using outside, you also will allow this to be going on in your imagination at the same time. When you can begin to imagine or visualize these forms inside your mind, inside your imagination, when you can see them in your mind's eye, dimensionally, and you can begin to move them, to turn them, to spin them, to rotate them in your mind, you will find that they actually have the capability of making changes within you. First of all, they will make energetic changes. Secondly, they will actually instill neurological changes. Thirdly, they can even instill physiological changes within you. They are like skeleton keys. And when you can hold the form in energy strongly, and begin to associate with it strongly, and begin to move it in space and time, then it will move you in space and time. You will go along with it. It will carry you, in a sense, into different orientations, different perspectives, allow you to perceive and access different dimensional perspectives of information or reality. So these are the keys turning in the locks. And as you become more proficient at turning them, then you will find you will be able to open more locks, open more doors, and begin to perceive through inspirational methods, through meditational methods, through artistic expressional methods, through many different creative methods. You will be able to perceive instant insights and perceptions of things you heretofore had not imagined. And you will find that you can also use these to take these new perspectives of information and figure out ways to apply this information, to adapt this information to your physical reality, to create new things, to have new ideas, to apply new methodologies, to create new results, new effects in your reality. This is the primary utilization that we will be discussing. There will be other utilizations that we can also perhaps touch on in this first preliminary discussion about the use of these regular polyhedra. But for now, in having laid this basic foundation, let us begin with your questions so that we can cover your specific focuses, your specific interests, and see how each and every one of these can be perhaps applied to the overall foundational understanding we have given, and how this foundational understanding can be expanded relative to your questions. And then, after we have gone through your questions and discussion thereof, we can, as you would say, wrap it up with some cohesive understanding and further explanation as to how to, as you would say in your language, get the most bang for your buck in the utilization of these very fundamental but very powerful tools of energy. So, let us begin, however you wish, with your questions.